So let's look at a question that will combine our knowledge of array and objects together. This question is based on the lab question that we previously done. It's also about the same familiar Joe's Pizza's sales record. We have done some sales record manipulation with Joe's Pizza store. And right now, we are using a typical setup for the sales records, which is saved in the file. Each row of file contains one date cell. The row starts with a date name, followed by a comma, then followed by transactions. Note here, this is plural. Transactions, and each separated by a comma. So example will be Monday. The first element is the day name, followed by 12, 32, 63, 78, separated by comma. Each is a transaction amount. So the sales of Monday is the sum of all these four values. And current file has 10 rows. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all the way until the next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, a total of 10 rows. And note that each day may have a different number of sales transactions. Like in Tuesday, you have 5, and in another Tuesday, you have 6 sales transactions, whereas in last day, the Wednesday, we will have 3 sales. So we need to calculate the daily sales for Joe and then draw a sales bar chart. So this question is a combination of multiple knowledge that we have. We need to first open up a file, read line by line. Then we need to parse each row into 2 parts, a sales name and the transactions. Then we will need to, as we see, we want to draw a sales bar chart, and we already created a sales bar chart, a store sales bar chart object, which we will utilize. So we are going to import external package, external class, and use that class. We will need to read in file row by row. We will split into array, split the string into array, use the first element as sales name, convert the rest into integer, and calculate the sum, get the sales of one day. Then we can save the file, say, sales into an array of sales bar chart, store sales bar chart objects, and use add sales of this sales bar chart object to calculate the sales of the day. And finally, once we finish calculating, we will draw the bar chart. So this is the question. So let's start by creating the class. I'm going to call it assignment 8. Sales bar chart. So for a sales bar chart, let's first import the sales bar chart, store sales bar chart object. I believe it's in session 8. Store sales bar chart, yes. So we're going to import package 8, not package, session 8 dot store sales bar chart. And then we will have Java doc comments. Copy this over. Let's create the main method. Static void main string array args. Okay. So for this main method, we're going to read the file row by row, right? This will be our pseudocode. Actually, how about let me remove this part and we will convert this into a more detailed pseudocode. We will need to read in the file row by row. We will open the file. Once you want to read the file, you need to open the file. Now, once you see open the file, always automatically write a close the file. down beneath, and then input your logic in between. Okay, remember, close the file, open the file. Logic is in between. So this way, you will not forget to accidentally forget closing the file. Now, logic is for each row, you will need to split the string into an array. Then apparently, we will create a new store sales bar chart object element. So we will have an array of sales bar chart object, right? So we will have a store sales bar chart array. Initialize store bar chart array, which has 10 rows. Now create a new store sales bar chart element, right? And using the first string element. That element will be a name of the day, which will be the store sales bar chart object. Then for each element, for the rest of each element in the string array, we will convert it 1 to length -1. Because element 0 is already be used as the sales name. Convert into integer. Add sales. Add store sales, I think it's called. We will check the exact name later. So that's once you finish, you will go through all the rows based on the description, right? Calculate the sum, and you will have an array of store sales bar chart, not chat, bar chart, and each one will be populated with a sales. Now the next thing is to, for each element in the bar chart array, you will draw the bar chart, right? So you can see there's a combination of array of objects, file operation, string splitting, and the for loop, and utilizing an object method that we created before. So let me copy this over. Again, let's, I think we have the, okay, initializing this first. Let's call it bar charts equals to new. Let's define this as 10. Can I resolve the type? What's the name? Bar chart? Oh, capital. Okay, so open the file. All this can be done by copying from previous file read write Java. So I'm going to copy this input file first and add the proper parenthesis. And now here, once you add scanner, there is an exception type, file not found exception, unhandled exception. So we also need to copy this over. And then we will copy this close file too. And for each row, it's going to be while input string reading followed by a parenthesis, curly brace. Now we will do, so now the whole file reading, opening, reading, and closing part is completed. Let's enter, as always, enter the logic inside the while. Everything is the same, as you can see, everything is the same for file opening, closing, and looping through the rows. What we need to do is fill in the logic, split the string into an array. So we will have a string tokens equals to input line dot split. And we are going to use comma to separate. And now we need to create a new sales bar chart element. So in order to create a sales store sales bar chart element, we're going to create inside this bar chart array. Remember, when you use this new, you are only creating the array object, which reserve the 10 spot in the array for each store sales bar chart object. Now you need to create one object at a time to fill in the spots in this array. However, how do we know which which bar chart are we referring to right now? Apparently, it should be the current row number, right? So, but since we are using the while, we need to manually add a counter. I should call it counter. So let's call it int counter, starting with 0. Then we will create a bar chart counter equals to new store sales bar chart. Now let's open up the store sales bar chart Java file, and you can see there's only one constructor for this store sales bar chart, which accepts one name as the parameter, which happens to be the first element of tokens. Which is the day name. So that's how we create the store sales bar chart. Oh, I forgot the semicolon here. Now it looks satisfying. Now for each element in the string, int I equals to 1. It starts at 1 as the 0, index 0 is already being used as the name. I less than token start length I plus plus. We will convert this tokens I integer temp number equals to integer dot parse int, converting this string into integer. And then this bar chart counter dot add store sales, and we can add the temp number. And once we finish, remember counter need to increment, because we are simulating, basically we are simulating a for loop here, just that we are not using counter as as a loop control. So now that we have the counter, let's do a for each int I equals to 0, I less than bar charts dot length I plus plus. Now, although we had I before and I before, each I, remember, each I is defined within the for loop itself, right? So the I defined here only is effective inside this code block. Similarly, I defined here only effective in this code block. Although they are both called I, they are not related to each other and will not interfere with each other whatsoever. So I'm going to put bar chart. I think we have a display bar chart function. So we will draw the bar chart and display the function for each bar chart. All right, so now let's run. And I think I have an input file ready. File ready. You can see we have some data here, 10 rows. Now let's run. And I'm going to type in input.txt. Let me show you the result.